sitting again with you, baby, tonight. I don't wanna love, I don't wanna fight. I don't wanna have to tell you all the things I know. I don't wanna stay, but I don't wanna go. I don't wanna be the lover in your arms. I don't wanna be the one to keep you from home. I don't wanna be the crooked person in your heart. I don't wanna stop, but I don't wanna stop. Part-time lover, how we suffer now. I don't wanna waste no more of your precious time. I don't wanna say that everything will be fine. I don't wanna feel your tears on my skin. I'm a coward, baby, don't let me in. Part-time lover, how we suffer now. So I don't wanna sit in again with you, baby, tonight. I don't wanna love, I don't wanna fight. I don't wanna have to tell you all the things I know. I don't wanna stay, but I don't wanna go. Wayfaring stranger, traveling through this world of war. There is no sickness, toil nor danger in that bright land to which I go. I'm going there to see my mother. I'm going there, no more to roam. I'm just going over Jordan. I'm just going to roam. I'm just gone over Jordan. I'm just gone over home. I'm going land to see my brother. He said he'd meet me when I come. Hush, little darling, don't say a word. I'm gonna buy you a mockingbird. Say, darling, say. And if that mockingbird don't sing, I'm gonna buy you a diamond ring. Yes, and I know that diamond ring. Yes, I know that diamond ring is gonna shine. Darling, if you'll marry me, I'll buy you a house with a big oak tree. Say, darling, say, we'll live in the house with the big oak tree. 3 little babies on your knee. Yes, and I know that diamond ring. Yes, I know that diamond ring is gonna shine. So hush, little darling, don't say a word. I'm gonna buy you a mockingbird.
Good day, this is Thumbs United. Oh, a little bit too loud. There we go. Good day, this is Thumbs United. I was peeking there on the microphone. So, we are continuing our work on the Foundation Project, the Foundation of America. And right now we're going through photos that feature Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., and Maryland. And so right now, these photos are from Harrisburg, the capital of Pennsylvania. We're going to start editing them. We should be able to finish all of them tonight. I already uploaded a few of them to the store, the ones we finished last night. We're just making some general settings that we're going to apply to everything. Reaction. There we go. This is kind of a problem image. There we go. The whole image isn't that great. But we'll see what happens because I'm going to synchronize all the edits we just did on this image. I'm going to synchronize with all the rest. So that's going to go through and apply what we just did. And so now what I'm going to do is fine tune them. It's a lot faster than having to do the same general settings for each one. So really what I just need to do is kind of change the exposure. It's a really overcast day. I really like the smoothness of these buildings. Brand new buildings. I'm tired. I finally got my sleep schedule back to decent. I had to set my alarm for 9, 10, 10:30, and then 11. I've been having the worst time sleeping, or I will get to bed at like 1 or 2 in the morning, but I will not fall asleep till about 5 a.m. So then of course I'm tired and I don't really have anything scheduled. I'm applying to jobs and everything, but other than that I'm just cleaning the house and doing my artwork. But so I just kind of, adapted to that, where I would stay up till 5 and then go to bed. But it was funny because I had not bad dreams, but they were stressful. In this dream, people were yelling at me and trying to punch me, and I was like, stop. Like, I wasn't afraid of it. It just, like, it was ridiculous. And so my third alarm went off. And, like, the first two I just turned off because it was, like, too soon. But I finally got up at the 10:31. And I said, this is ridiculous. I despise this dream. And yes, I got up, so that was good. But I'm tired now. It's only 9, which is good, because I want to go to bed earlier. And especially for when I start taking photos for Project Aerospace, which I'm getting ready to try a new method of aerial photography. It's a method I used to do before, but I'm excited to try it out because I have a large kite, and that can hold like a GoPro, or what I'm actually going to try is the VR camera. And the VR camera has like really good image stabilization, like really good. Like when I put it in the remote control airplane Albie, it looks like it's just gliding, straight with no motion, with almost no shake at all. But it's a remote control airplane, so it's wobbling back and forth and trying to stay level and everything, even with the pilot assist. But the VR camera will smooth that out like really well. But I'm not sure how it would do on a kite, because it will be dangling up high, because it's windy, whereas with the airplane it's not windy. But it should be the same. But that would be nice, because I can just reel it up there, and then unlike airplanes or drones that need batteries, and then you have the battery time limits, the kite, you just fly as long as there's wind, and in Michigan there's a lot of wind, a lot. So I might end up being like Benjamin Franklin and get struck down by a bolt of lightning. But I thought that was funny. Well, not funny if that's the way I go, but it will be a little bit funny. Man struck down by lightning taking photos with a kite. A lot of cool arches with the old style architecture. These are for all the trains and everything that went into Pennsylvania, but they don't. Yes, the train tracks are there, but the trains don't come on those tracks anymore. I haven't heard back from the other places I applied to. I'm getting ready to do another round of applying for jobs. Like I did like 7 retail shops in my area, and I heard back from none of them except for one of them, and they said nope. Now I'm gonna try to get a job that I have a degree in, either doing tech support or programming. I have a degree in application development, but it's an associate's. And it's funny because when I went to get the degree, there were a lot of jobs for programmers with associates, but now those same exact jobs, like I kid you not, they're not hyperbole and a half. It's the same jobs require like bachelor's and master's degrees, and it's like, why? And they even say, we don't need advanced programmers and everything. It's like we need entry-level programmers and stuff, and it's just like, why do you need a bachelor's degree then? And like there are a lot of people I know who have bachelor's degrees, and it's kind of like, well, one, I helped them with tech support. It's just like, how did you survive college? But this tank is really hard. I don't know why. It's hard to balance the sky, and don't want the shadow to be completely dark. The lens I'm using for this tank is a funny one. It's a vintage lens. It's a 28mm lens, which that's not the funny part. The funny part is that it claims the aperture is 2.8, but if you look at it, the aperture is like smaller than a 3.5 aperture. Usually, the smaller the hole at the end of the camera that goes into the camera, and that's where the aperture is. I mean, it's technically not where the aperture is. It's a little bit inside the camera, but that final last piece of lens, judging by the size, you kind of know the biggest aperture you can achieve with that lens. And so it's a tiny one. It's like it's definitely smaller than a 3.8 or a almost smaller than a f-stop of 4. And so I don't know where they say it, how they say it's a 2.8 aperture, but it does do, I don't know if it does better in low light, but it does have a smaller depth of field. So it's like it has a low aperture, but not in low light. But it is, I think because it's vintage, it's kind of, everything's slightly out of focus. Almost like a haze, but it's not a haze of light like glare or anything. It's kind of like the focus is just slightly hazy. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. There have definitely been road trips where I use that lens and it's like, photos didn't come out how I wanted. And there were a couple of photos in the Project Newfoundland series that I was like not happy with, just because they were landscapes, and landscapes you really want kind of high detail. You don't really have anything out of focus unless you're doing tilt shift, but and I mean like mountain landscapes and stuff. There's a ton of landscape photos on forest you can have where things are selectively in focus. But So anyway, I was taking pictures of mountains and the lens, and it's like, it's kind of like it looked good on the camera, but then when I got home, it was like, it's kind of has that focus haze. So after that trip, I don't really use the lens that much. Okay, we're done with that. And take a short break. Okay, I'm back. And again, we're gonna make this template. This template of preferences. I kind of call them presets. Not really though. They're presets you can do for Lightroom where you go into detail, of all the different settings and everything. We're just making general presets just for this album of photographs. This one's kind of harder because it was taken midday when the sun is at the brightest. So the sun is shining straight down, which puts everything into like shadow, like really dark shadow. It's either really dark or really bright, and there's nowhere in between. Like I said, I'm really struggling with this one. Whoa, getting crazy with it. Normally I would edit it like that to have the rich, darker shades. But I don't know. That's the old way I would do it. But I'm trying to edit them to be like more happier, I guess. where it's not so high contrast, and even though it's like really bright colors and vibrant, it was kind of like, I don't know, depressing vibrance. I'm trying to get kind of more range, more tints and tones, and not so much too many shades. That's like all shade. Oh man, we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. I know it looks weird, but we're gonna fix it. Okie dokie. Okay, I think we're almost there. Okay, that's as good as that photo's gonna get, but we're gonna copy and synchronize the settings we made for this first photo. And like I said, it's gonna be difficult, and this is one of the larger groups of photos we have. There's 101 photographs, and like you can see as it goes across the bottom, and they're kind of look wild and way overexposed. That might not have been a good one to do, or sample. It might be easy, we just have to bring down the brightness on all of them. And again, I'm trying to not get too many dark shadows. That's my deck. It's been like really grumpy lately. And she comes to me and she's like, I want to go outside. We go outside, and then she's like, I want to go back inside. It's like, okay, we go inside. And not even 2 seconds later, she's barking at me, I want to go outside again. And it's like, what? We were just outside. And like, it's cold now, there's snow. We have a winter storm advisory. I'm not, letting her out too long, and she knows it's cold. There was a toy she wanted under the microphone stand. That's what that sound was. Yeah, so that making the settings, I mean, in some ways it was okay. I mean, I actually like how kind of fake these photos look. Like there's a softness to them, but they are still really vibrant. But they're so evenly lit, which is really hard to do. And that's from the editing. That makes it look evenly lit. Because it was not that way when I took the photos. It was all harsh light and so because the way we're editing it almost looks like we're reducing the amount of depth between things that are close to the camera and the background. They seem, because usually areas that are farther back are darker. And that's because it takes, the light isn't as strong the farther it goes. And these photos, they weren't taken this overexposed. When I made the setting, it automatically, the settings I made for it pushed it to be more overexposed. It's getting easier to edit these. I think it's because the first one we edited, that we made all the settings for, the rest of them was in shade. Well, it wasn't in shade, but it was compensating for the shade more. The areas in shadow. And deleted that one, I didn't like it. That one's too similar. find photos now. Lost our nice even. Well, we started off with 101. I was thinking we were moving a little slowly, but we're almost done now. Just once you reach that halfway point, it becomes easier. But we're not really halfway. We're just halfway with this collection of photos in the garden. And I'm getting in the zone. Only 5 more left. And then we move on to the next section. It's Philadelphia. We go from nature photography to cityscapes. And these ones, all the photos are more similar. There's 113 of these. I'll probably, you know what, we'll finish these 113 and then that will be it for the stream. Because we'll have another 100 to do, and I'm getting tired. Today was a long day. There was a lot of cleaning. I spent so much time programming. And it wasn't even real programming, it was just setting up scripts and configuration files. And it was a headache. And it wasn't that I only had to do it for one computer, I had to do it for 5 Linux boxes. And I had this bright idea for this new process and rendering, so we'll take more advantage of the threads and not the cores. Like it's like an Intel 6-core processor. Yes, it has 6 cores, but it has the hyper threading, so it can do 6 threads. Which a computer has thousands and thousands of threads. These are just processing threads, where the more it helps, where the thousands of threads get split into different sections. So they'll be split into 12 sections, and so on and so forth. And so each core can have like 2 threads of thought. But so I had this program. I was like, I'm gonna have it. Instead of it thinking only using 6 threads, I'm going to have it use all 12 threads of the processor. So I set it, it's a program I have on 5 computers, 5 Linux boxes. So I set them all, and then I was doing the benchmarking. And for a while it looked like it was going to be considerably faster. And then it ended up being slower, like considerably slower. So it was just like a little speed boost at the beginning, but then not so much. So I thought that was... Then I had to undo all the settings in the configuration files, and if it was just one computer it would have been easy, but it was not. Trying to make these more low contrast, so you kind of focus in on the different tints of the building, not so much shade or tone, because it is white, so there's not a lot of color tone. Okay, now we're gonna synchronize the settings. Synchronize. And you can see across the bottom it's applying these settings to all the other files. And one of the reasons why I'm able to do all these drastic changes, because they are very drastic, is because I'm shooting in RAW. And so RAW it saves all the data from the sensor, whereas JPEG it's compressed and it's low quality. And the whole point of JPEG is to be as small a file as possible. So whenever you're making a file type and you're making it to be as small as possible, with anything graphic or even audio in nature, anything visual arts or auditory, the smaller the file means the less detail there is always. So it doesn't matter how good at compressing the data, there's still a whole bunch of it is taken out. So what a RAW file is for photography, it's the exact opposite of compression. Everything the sensor sees, it's a one-for-one file save to the memory card. So that means that the file sizes are huge, but it also means you can do things like this where you can say, okay, you don't even have to worry about the white balance. You can say, okay, I want to change it to shade, or change it to cloudy, or change it to daylight. Because the sensor records everything and doesn't burn in the color temperature. You can change it later. So like we can change the color temperature to this, where there's still a lot of detail even though it's really magenta and everything. Like you can still see the different shades in the building and everything, but if that was on JPEG, it would look terrible. But even though I can change everything after the fact, I do try to keep all the settings. I still try to do everything in camera that I can. So I always set the correct white balance to what I'm shooting. And a little tip is that if you're shooting inside the car window, even if you're shooting out the front window and the front side windows, there's still a UV tint, even though they might not be as tinted as the back windows. And so that does weird things to a camera, digital and film. And so what I do is I shoot in flash, and with the flash white balance, and that helps correct a lot of the issues of shooting in the window. I'm getting rid of this one. And again, this is in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So I am taking pictures in the car, but my window's open, so that's why it's not set to the flash white balance. Sometimes if I'm like in a sketchy neighborhood, it doesn't always mean I'm bad at neighborhood. It could be like an affluent neighborhood as well. And people get grumpy if you take photos. I'll shoot with the windows rolled up. Because I don't want to start fights. Don't want to start fights. It's a Mini Cooper. This one's out of focus, so it has to go. That was a funny photo. In terms of editing. Just felt weird editing it. It was like everything how I normally edit my own photographs, they wanted the opposite. This is a veterans parade. Now we're going to the Liberty Bell. That was the Liberty Bell. We're almost done with this. I want to thank everyone for coming out. Unfortunately, I do not have enough energy to do the Half-Life stream on tonight. Like normally I would have started Half-Life 30 minutes ago. I just pooped. Levels in Half-Life are kind of long. They're like an hour and 40 minutes each. I was surprised how long that Highway 17 was. And it's nice playing Half-Life, as an adult. Not quite middle-aged adult, but getting there. The first time I played Half-Life, I was like 14. And so like the game was so hard back then, and this was really before the internet was really good, and so we would hot seat it where I would play for a little bit and then hand the controller to my friend and he'd try to figure out how to play it. We knew how to play it, but to figure out where to go and everything, oh my goodness, it was a nightmare. But it was so much fun playing as Gordon Freeman, and the gravity gun was awesome. But so going back playing it now, I was 13 when I played that. That was 15 years ago. And so I don't remember anything in Half-Life. Where to go, and so it's so much fun because it's kind of like a new game, but also as an adult, it's like my problem solving skills are better. It's like, oh, there are enemies coming, I must go that way. That's kind of the big secret in video games. If there are enemies coming at you, that's the direction you want to go. Into the fire. But there is an exception to that, which is kind of a funny story. There was this one Destiny mission I was doing, and so you get to the last part where the temple is, where they're trying to do something. I think it was quota level, Fista quota or something. It wasn't the exact Fista quota level, but it had something to do with quota's revenge. And so you get to the temple where they have this spike of the traveler, and it's like possessed by Quota and is coming back using the traveler's powers. And the door would open, and then these hollowed knights would, come flying out at me, and I was like, where am I supposed to, get kill the hollow knights? Because they were like bullet sponges, but they took no damage. They were invincible. And so I kept going back, getting more ammo from all the engrams that fell and everything. And no matter what I did, I couldn't kill a single hollow knight. And so then I googled it. So it turns out those hollowed knights are impossible to kill. They're there so you don't run backwards. So I was like, I would have never figured that out. And so they want you to stay in this one area of the map where you kind of bottlenecked and you have all the enemies, and so they don't want you to run in and run out and just pick people off. And I was like, that's weird. Especially since Destiny is supposedly a stealth game, that they want you to go in guns blazing at that one part. Well, everyone, it's been swell. It's been a nice return to streaming the past week. Started off with a lot of Half-Life. Came back to creative. And then doing multiple games a day. I'm really starting to get in the rhythm of things. And I also... there's an appropriate amount of sadness, I guess, I'm going through. But I don't know, I expected, I was not going to be surprised if, I was expecting a lot worse. It's bad, but it's better than what I thought would have happened. If that makes sense. Tomorrow we'll finish this, and before next time, right now we're just editing the 35mm digital photographs. I'm going to bring in the 3D. Actually, the 3D are kind of already selected, but I'm going to bring in, the VR is selected. We have to bring in the 3D photographs. So we'll go through and just select them. We don't edit them in Lightroom. We just organize them. They get edited in the video editor, which I use Blender. Okay, we're done. I want to thank everyone for coming out. See everyone tomorrow. Bye-bye.